Welcome back to the podcast. This week's guest is Steve Firth. Steve is the bassist of 90s band Embrace. Embrace have now been going for almost 25 years. We spoke about his early life growing up, his first steps into the music and the various jobs that he did before that. We spoke about Embrace's career, which includes 7 studio albums and a 7-year hiatus in between. We also spoke about Steve's other bands that he's in, Land Sharks and One Sided Horse. And at the end we picked his 4 heroes to come for a dinner party. I hope you all enjoy the show. I'll be back again soon with another episode. Anyway, so thanks for coming on, Steve, bass player of Embrace. What I do with the podcast at the start, I like to go back to how you grew up, your early life growing up, where you were, things like that. So just kind of fire away with that.
What, really, really early before the band and everything?
Yeah. Just to kind of get a picture of you.
Kind of, when I think back in my early life, I think the best representation on TV has been the royal family. It's kind of that sort of thing, you know, sort of lower middle class. Kind of, my dad were aspiring to be an accountant, but for a long time we were skint. Sunday dinners were, you know, fruit salad for pudding and all that with squirty cut cream on.
Yeah.
Get out for different cups and everything, you know. Highlight of the week, we're getting the Beano on a Thursday. I remember that. God, seems like black and white times now when you think about it. You know, no phones, no mobiles and all that. It's hard to think back that far, isn't it? It's I went to sort of there were 2 schools in our area. One was like big comprehensive, which were a bit scary, and then there was a boys' sort of grammar school that everyone aspired to go to, and I ended up going to the grammar school. About 460 boys, no girls. Teachers were like from a different era, proper, you know, nasty fuckers that cane you, and you keep your head down or else you get into a lot of trouble. So it was really 2 or 3 years. The early days were really scary. Then all these sort of Second World War teachers sort of retired, and then a new sort of more relaxed came in, and it wasn't so bad then. But yeah, I don't look back on my school days. Like a lot of my friends still think it's the best time of their life, and I don't. I think it was a bit, you know, I remember skiving off a lot of Mondays because we had double chemistry and double physics with a twat of a teacher, and he used to, we're going to be Monday to miss that. I remember that. Yeah, just normal, and then kind of went to uni. I did. Never knew what I wanted to do in my life at all. I just knew I didn't want to be in an office. Normal 9 to 5. Never aspired to money and, you know, suburban life and all that. Just wanted to live it, do something different. So I ended up going to like Liverpool for 3 years and doing art, psychology, and taking a lot of drugs and having a lot of fun. And out of that, not knowing what the fuck I was going to do. Then ended up moved to Crawley for 3 years. No, for a year, because my mate, his family moved to Crawley, now down by Gatwick, and said, there's jobs down here, get a job tomorrow if you come down. So me and a mate, it was a time when, and I don't know how old you are, but Norman Tebbit said, get on your bike and look for work kind of thing. So me and my mate got trained out of London, slept in his garage for a couple of weeks, got a job day 1, we were there, and started working, and we had kind of lots of adventures and did about 12 jobs in a year. So I'd worked on shop floors, office, I was a bin man for 3 months. So I did my share. I did the share to see what jobs are out there, you know, where it's like to work 12-hour shifts and night shifts and all this. So.
My wife is from Crawley.
All right.
So, I mean, I've had like 12 episodes of this podcast and see the amount of times Crawley's come up. And
really?
It's mental. I didn't realise the history of it until we were talking about it during the World Cup. Yeah. And she found out Gareth Southgate was for Crawley.
Right.
And we went down a rabbit hole of Crawley and we found all these people.
It's a massive council estate, really, all new builds. And
so the Cure were for there.
Yeah, met a friend down there who used to go on about the Cure all the time. I reckon they were 2 years at school. They were always going about Lawrence Tolhurst. Yeah, I know Lawrence and all. I don't know if he did or not, but he probably did.
Yeah.
We then eventually we got made homeless, and because we moved in with this nut job guy, and he was about 3 months behind on the rent when we moved in, so we were kicked out a week later. So we were homeless, slept on someone's floor for a couple of weeks till she got fed up with us. So I ended up living in a tent for about 4 months while still working, having a bath once a week, whether you needed it or not, that sort of thing. And we got a bit rough. Popped home one weekend to see my mum and dad. And my mum just said, "Do you want a bacon sandwich?" Because I'd gone vegetarian as well. And she said, "Do you want a bacon sandwich?" I said, "Yes." And I just had this bacon sandwich. I thought, fuck it, I'm not going back to Crawley now. Yeah, that shit. And then I ended up working in Bradford sort of area in an office, which I didn't want to do, just temporary, which turned into 6 years. And then you start offering you more money, and then you get comfortable, then you buy a car, and then you've got to pay the debts for that, and then you get a mortgage, and then suddenly you're trapped into this life, aren't you, of always spending more than you can afford. So, which wasn't what I wanted it to be, really. I wanted to have more fun than that.
So is that when did kind of music come into it? I take it this music was kind of in the background all this time.
We always had music on in the house, and always had the radio, and I always listened to charts. And the old days, it's cliche, if you sat listening to the charts with your fingers over the playing record button on your little tape thing. And I used to love the Sweet and Mud and T-Rex and all these 70s sort of glam rockers. I remember that was my first love. And then used to go to bed early to listen to John Peel. John Peel, what were you on, about 9 o'clock till 11? I can't remember. I remember used to listen to John Peel religiously every night, and once again listen, ready to record anything. So John Peel was everything to me in them days. For 2 or 3 years, he got all my music from him, and then all my first gigs were like Dickies, not Sham 69, Susie and the Banshees, Cure, Joy Division, Damned, Stranglers, Clash. So that was my 14, 15, 16 was all punk, and and the best time ever for music still for me, because that's when you're that age, that stays with you forever, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I've always had music in my life, and I love the Manchester scene. I love the Britpop scene. I just don't know what music is at the moment, so because I'm too old for it. It's not meant for me. So.
It's all pop, TikTok stuff, and all that is kind of.
I'm more into I'm buying Rolling Stones albums nowadays, and a lot of prog stuff. I've bought Auckland album and stuff like that. So I've never very musical at all. My dad, there's no music in family or anything like that. It's just I think I saw Stiff Little Fingers and just thought they looked cool, and I wanted to be on stage doing that. And I was mum to buy me guitar for my 15th birthday, which were a little cheap K guitar, I think it was, a lamp, and I got it home, and I had no idea how to play it or anything. There was no internet, no tutorials, nothing like that. No one at school knew anything about it. No one was interested. Just got it home, and I thought I'd sound like the Sex Pistols. I thought I'd do a big chord and I'd be away, and it just louder acoustic guitar in it. Yeah. So what the fuck's this? And then you'd go out and buy a songbook, and you'd want to learn, Anarchy in the UK, and it'd be like Lulu, Skip to Maloo, or Kumbaya or something. What the hell's this? I didn't want this crap. We eventually formed a band at school. We just sang songs about each other and teachers, really. It was just a stupid.
Yeah,
Half Man Half Biscuit was probably the closest sort of band we were. The really early Half Man Half Biscuit stuff where they just been funny. We were like that. We never really did any gigs, but we'd put up posters everywhere and sort of pretend we were big, cool.
I'm still doing that now. With my mates, we get a band, we get a fictional band. We've never played anything together, but we pretend we're a band.
Yeah, we used to do like Monty Python quotes underneath it, and put posters up around Huddersfield for some reason. I don't know why we did it, but yeah, it's fun. When you're at an all-boys school, it's all about piss take and humour, and know what else to do.
So, how did that progress then? Did you join any band, like any bands in EMEA?
When we were at college, I've sort of joined about 3 different bands, and one of them did a big gig once. They had like the big end of term thing. They had a band, Icicle Works actually. They were on, and they played about 1,000 people. And we were supporting them, and we had no gear, and they let us borrow their gear, which was really nice. So we sounded really good that night, and we just did a weird mixture of songs. I actually think we did like loads of cover versions. We did about 4 cover versions, a couple of our own stuff that we'd written, and yeah, it was quite good. But the bands are like herding sheep, you know. Everyone's got different ideas.
Yeah.
It's really keep everyone interested. And if there's, you know, there's no one pushing it, it kind of falls apart very quickly. And I think after that, I joined a band called The Exit, which was a punk covers band, and then we started doing our own stuff. But I just remember doing a gig in a pub once, and they had screens behind us on. You know, I thought, oh, this is good. They got screens up, you know, this will be good. But everyone's watching boxing while we were playing, and I just thought, this is not good. Embarrassing. And so I gave it all up then. And then, you know, famously about 3 or 4 years later, I was working in an office, I had a suit. The cats, I got 2 cats, and they scratched it up in the middle of the night, running up and down it. So like next day I needed a wardrobe to put this suit in, my one suit for work. And I got the yellow pages, looked in the back, and there was I always looked in the band sections, and it was like, you know, band into Stone Roses, Oasis, PJ Harvey, Pixies, Nirvana, and I thought, Smiths, I thought, these are all my favourite bands. And so I rang him up, and he lived half a mile up the road from me, and it actually turned out Danny's dad. You could go drinking with my dad at the bowling club. Chatting each night, and they'd go, do you know any bass players to my dad? And my dad go, no idea, I don't know any bass players. And I'm dead, so half a mile down the road from him. So yeah, and Danny and Richard went to the same school as me, you know, but I was kind of older, so you don't mix with people at school, you don't talk to them. Yeah. So yeah, I'm very local and incestuous.
And that was the start of things to come, and I mean, when was that? That was like 1990, was it?
96.
96, so it's a long time, isn't it, to find where you've started and where you are now.
Yeah, I was 2 years before we got signed, and it was probably about 13, 14, 15 months before we even did a gig. You know, we practiced 3-4 times a week, 5 times a week eventually. And writing stuff, trashing it, writing stuff again, trying to reinvent the band, you know, Danny trying to become a songwriter rather than just, before that we were all big riffs and a lot of noise, and then he wanted to become a proper songwriter, so it took a while for that to happen, to find his own.
What was the dynamic like between Danny and Richard, and then in turn what was that like for the rest of you to deal with in the band?
It's never been like fiery like the Gallaghers. It's never been that standard, but yeah, brothers do, you know, get on each other's tits, and they've got a lot of baggage from, you know, younger brother trying to express himself, and older brother, you know, thinking he's the boss. And if you can't take sides, that's the main lesson, you know. If, like Rick used to go, oh, Danny's a right fucking twat for saying that, and you go, yeah, don't get involved, because they'll be friends again next day, and they're stuck with each other, aren't they, forever? So you don't want to get, you know, you don't want to take sides, and they get on 90% of the time. They get on very well. It's just, they can wind each other up. But then, you know, something like that, if you're stuck with someone. Yeah.
It's just, I mean, it's because they're in their positions as well as singer and kind of lead guitarist as well. So it's kind of...
They're the two fiery ones, aren't they? You know? Yeah. Bass player and drummers just keep at the back and keep our heads down.
And So, I mean, I've been a big fan of the band right from the start. I think it was because, like, Britpop when Britpop came out and everybody was into Oasis, and then you were kind of labelled, oh, this is the new Oasis because of the two brothers.
Yeah, Northern Two Brothers, that's the first question you get asked every interview. You know, they want another Oasis kind of thing. And we weren't really like that. We came across bad in the press because we said a lot of stupid stuff, but we always said it with a smile on our face, and it made us look, in written word, it made us look arrogant and stuff. But really, we were like winking and laughing and joking.
Yeah.
And they decided we were that kind of person, you know, that type of group, rather. Remember, we had a A&M journalist come on tour with us for a week, and we looked after him. We were on the tour bus, drinking with him every night, giving him all our ride, having a right laugh. And he was lovely. Then he went away and wrote a fucking horrible article about us, saying we were, and that's how two-faced the Enemy were. You know, they just like, you know what it's like. Enemy was they big you up for 1 week, and then 3 weeks later you were like the worst band ever. Then
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. Once you had another band come along, they're not interested.
and if you were an indie fan, you were a bit like that as well, weren't you? You wanted to be first with every band, and
yeah.
first,
Well, there was a time when I was kind of younger as well, where see once you like a band, and then see once you get to a certain level of success, you kind of go off them because they're too big now, and everybody likes them.
That's the not Nirvana time the Kurt Cobain, isn't it? He didn't like people he didn't like in the band. He didn't like jocks and rednecks like in the band. He wanted nice people that he liked to like the band. But
yeah.
That's the indie snobbery, isn't it? That's Enemy snob. I grew up with the Enemy and like John Peel and all that stuff. So I've not, I'm as bad as everyone else, really. I suppose. If it gets big, you think, well, it can't be that good because the great masses like it. You know what I mean? It's like not the clever people like me.
So, I mean, the first album was obviously where I came into use it right at the first album, and it's filled with anthems. It's like it's miles away from Britpop the way they like.
We thought we were, you see. We were stuck up north, and we were never part of that London scene at all. We didn't really understand all that Britpop, and didn't really we liked it, but we didn't want much to do with it. We were just more sort of looking across the Atlantic, I suppose, and doing a bit more singing about emotions and relationships rather than coolness and Camden and all that.
London. So, I mean, who was the kind of main player and kind of writing these songs? Would that be like Danny and Rick at that point?
I'd say at that point, Danny. Rick sort of came into his own later and became more of a force in the band, but at that time it was Danny driving it.
Yeah, because I mean, you get that impression him on stage as well. It's like he's got a vision of these songs, and like the first album, like I can mind working up in Oban. I was working in a hotel for a month, and like the scenery there was like immense, and all the mountains and things like that, and the Good Will Out album, see on your Walkman, looking at that is one of the best albums I've ever listened to, and it's always for that scenery. That's what I think of when I think of that music.
That's where it's kind of big, epic,
epic anthems.
I do a lot of walking with music on as well, and certain bands suit that more than others,
Yeah. So at this time as well, quite early on, you started like the secret gigs, and you done. I don't know, you were well into double figures with secret gigs, weren't you? Whose idea was that? Was that again Danny? I
think originally it was we were playing Glastonbury. And we didn't realise when you sign up to play a big festival, you kind of sign an exclusivity thing where you're not allowed to play any gigs, say 3 months before, 3 months after. Or it might be like in that half of the country, you're not allowed to play any gigs. And we were like sort of down south on the coast. I don't know what we were doing, actually. I might have had a photo shoot or an interview or something. And we're like, why can't we play a gig? And the manager told us he signed an exclusivity thing. We're like, we're bored. So we just took our guitars down to the beach and did a little impromptu gig to people walking past with the dogs and stuff like that, and kind of start from there really. And we start coming up with weird and wonderful ideas, and people would start finding places for us to go and play. And it was all very guerrilla gig. I think that was the term at the time, wasn't it? It would be here at this time, and little hints, and there were like passwords to get into the secret gig site, and it made it quite exciting. People had to invest a bit of energy into it to find out where they were, and
that's how I never went to any. I couldn't have laughed through all that. But you've done one before Tina Park as well, and then I had a video or a DVD. He's took people to like Spain or something.
Yeah.
So
that was in the lean times when we were all working again, and Mickey, our keyboard player, was working for this guy called Tony Stanton in Leeds, who was doing advertising for some. I don't know exactly what it was, but he was selling advertising space. And this guy had a luxury yacht, and this guy just said, like, why don't you fly over to my place in Mallorca, he's got this £1.5 million yacht. You could invite 6 people out there, and we thought, brilliant. We did a competition where they had to like send in a video of them. Can't remember exactly what it was. It was either them doing a song or them doing the silly video. We picked the best half dozen. Tony, because of his how high up and business-like he was, he got us really cheap deals with Jet2 from Leeds Bradford Airport. So we flew them all out. We did a gig, did a secret gig on a boat. We did like one, sort of this cafe place. It was beautiful, actually. It was one of the best things we've ever done in our lives.
Yeah.
That's probably the highlight in terms of fun, because normally they're right pain in the ass. We lose a lot of money doing them, and it's like at the end of the day, if it's worth doing.
But that's just the thing. Like, there's no any other bands that I've ever seen kind of do that sort of thing, and like the engagement that you've got with the fan base is.
I think that's why we've survived, actually, because we've got this fan base that's stuck by us, and stuff like this we've done has probably created that or helped to keep it together. You know, I mean, the worst one we did in terms of effort was someone suggested, "Why don't we do a gig in the dark at this mill in this derelict mill in Bradford?" I don't know why I thought it was a good idea. We spent like probably 2 weeks. Rick had where we were rehearsing was a barn with all big windows in the roof, so we had to get up on ladders, had to black it all off, black all the windows out, turn all the lights off, and get it as dark as we possibly could to sort of get the right conditions. And then we stood there, we can't see our hands, we can't play. I was like, right, we need to like get some fluorescent paint. We painted it on alt frets on your guitar, and you go, I can't see my fingers, but I can see the frets, but I don't know where my fingers are, I can't see my hand. And then it was like nail varnish, fluorescent nail varnish, so then you can see your fingers. It only lasted for 5 minutes. So then we had to come up with this plan, whereas after every song, you turn your back to the audience, there's a strobe comes on, flashes, and it recharges your fingers, so then you could see for the next song. The amount of work went into that, sort of like 5 guys spending 2 weeks doing it. Probably cost us a couple of grand, and about 50 people came to see it. Life's all about creating memories, and silly things like that are great.
That's a brilliant story. I've never heard that one. That's amazing. Second album, Drawn from Memory.
Yeah.
I don't know maybe as many anthems on it. It's a bit more emotional, a bit softer pace, but still a really good album. I can mind coming and seeing these 2 weeks in a row at the Barrowlands. About then, and every time I came to see you, I came to the Barrowlands. So funny story about one of the Barrowlands gigs, I came, me and my pal and my big sister, and we were standing in front of you, right down the front, and see your wee backstage pass, your wee AAA pass you had. Yeah. It was a picture of you wearing like a afro wig or something.
That was our keyboard player.
Right.
I thought it was Beaver, our tour tech. Yeah,
I thought it was a picture of Bob Dylan, and I was pestering you the full gig. Like, can I have that? Can I get your pass? And to the point where I was like, you can have my sister. I'll let you go with my sister. So at the end of the gig, you came down and handed me this pass, and it turned out it wasn't Bob Dylan. I've still got it somewhere. It's up my loft, but I was a bit disappointed with that.
It is. Yeah, you can't hear anything when you're on stage at Barrowland. It's just all the noise and craziness. So fantastic.
Some of the bands that have supported you, like they were also different. So I seen Alfie, Manchester band Alfie, and then I think the following week when you came, it was Cooper Temple Close, which is completely different. So what was the script with? How did you go about picking tour support? Was that management or record label?
In the early days, it's proper, old-fashioned way you get people send you demo tapes, and you get like a box of tapes, and you listen to them, and you go, "Oh, they're good." That's how I think Danny found Coldplay by a little, cassette tape, and found these are good. And most of the early ones were just us picking them. These are good. We like these. I like Cooper Temple Close band. Probably not the right sort of support band for us. They're a bit heavy for your average.
Yeah, but this is the thing. Like I probably wouldn't get into Cooper Temple Close if they hadn't been supporting you in a like, because I've always made a point of going and seeing the support bands.
Well, always had good support bands. We always used to say that we should charge them to play with us because a lot of them went on to do good things.
Yeah.
Did well like JJ72 and Alfie were good. I liked Alfie. Gomez and Travis we played with. They went on to big things.
Yeah. He's obviously had an ear for a good band.
It's like you, we like music,
Yeah.
We had varied taste between us, and but we like something. It's good if they've got tunes. It's I like it. It's not really that complicated.
The other connection with Oasis that I see is B-sides. Oasis were a band that had amazing B-sides, and yours were the same.
I think we were looking at Ride more than Oasis when we started, because we all love Ride, and that those early EPs were fantastic, and we want to just create a little. It's more than a single. Our singles are just all gone. 3 minutes, you turn it over. A lot of people don't even bother with B-sides sometimes, but when it's like 4 songs, it's like a little mini.
Yeah.
The band was fantastic. Yeah, we were gutted when the charts stopped you being able to do that. We'd have carried on doing it because we thought they were fantastic.
Yeah, that
really changed for some reason, and you couldn't do it anymore. So then, everyone ended up doing 3 versions of the same bloody song and extended mixes and remixes, and people got ripped off more.
Well, some of the B-sides you would think, some of them could be better than songs on the album as well. But how would that work? Would that just be, you maybe thought that one wouldn't fit with a collection of songs on an album?
Sometimes it was a case of, we've got, the single's finished, but it's got to be out in 2 weeks. You haven't got any B-side, so you'd rush into a studio and sort of knock 3 songs together really quickly without as much thought. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they were just better because we're freer for that, and we're less thinking about it and just doing what we do naturally.
Right.
So, and then it's kind of like, shit, we've put that out, and that should have been on an album. You don't realise till later sometimes. Sometimes you're far too close to it. By the time you've recorded a song, sometimes you don't even like it anymore because you've heard it that many times. You've heard it hundreds and hundreds of times, in all different versions, different speeds, different keys. We don't do stuff easily in Embrace. It takes a long time sometimes. So occasionally something will slip through, like a B-side that we just record in 3-4 hours, start to finish. And that might be better than anything we've poured over for months,
Yeah, like anybody that's listening to that, I would kind of urge you to go back and listen to Embrace B-sides, because some...
We used to have I think it was our Dave Creffield who recorded our first album, and he's like a little tape of B-sides. It had Too Good for a B-side written on them, and that was like kind of a bit of an Embrace phrase, really. I don't know, Too Good for a B-side.
Yeah. Next album, If You've Never Been, got to number 1 as well. So this was your second number 1.
I think it went to number 8.
Oh, did it? Is that no? I've got that as drawn from memory. Went to number 8.
Might have been 6 and 8. So
right.
The album was number 1, and then the 4th and 5th were number 1.
Were they? Right. I've got that. Oh no, sorry. Do you know what? I'm reading that wrong. It's number 9. Sorry. I'll edit all that out. So number
performing up to that moment. That's why we got dropped.
Yeah, because that's what I was going to say. I was at number 1, but I've not really got much to say about it. It wasn't after the first 2 albums. The third album wasn't. I don't know. It just didn't come across the same way.
Yeah, we agreed. Yeah. It's taken us a long time to like that album again. For whatever reason, it's quite ambitious, but it doesn't quite work. And there's we all thought it was a bit slow and ponderous, and it needed a bit of a kick up the arse.
Yeah, there are some good songs on it, like See You at the End.
Yeah, Wonder Over, some nice tunes on it. That we probably needed a couple more big anthems, and I think we're under pressure to deliver like you are, because you go away for 18 months in this business, everyone's forgotten about you and gone to another band. So we'll try to do it a bit quicker than normal. We admit, like I say, I've rediscovered it now and I really like it again. But for 10, 15 years, we've all just called it. We'd never bothered. Because it did get us dropped. So it went to number 9 in the charts, which is a fantastic achievement. You know, if you'd have said to me as a kid, I'm going to have a number 9 album in charts, I wouldn't have believed you. I thought it was fantastic. In that time, it wasn't good enough, you know, because we were quite an expensive band. You know, in them days, MTV, you had to have 35mm films for it to go on MTV, which cost you about 10 grand before you started in film stock. So a lot of those videos were like 60, 100 grand. So that's just going on your bill. Only 4 of those and your record company $500,000 almost. Then you've got your album and suddenly you're only selling whatever it was, 150,000.
Yeah.
You can see what. Yeah.
So, I mean, Faye getting dropped, I mean, your next album out of nothing, it's like that. I mean, that got to number 1.
Yeah.
Off the back, do you think a lot it's to do with the Gravity song?
Maybe, but I probably think it's a great album without Gravity, and it's it's probably
but obviously, like I'm more thinking about like critical reception for music publications.
I mean, what we'd kind of finished the album, and then like Daniel was like good friends with Chris, and they used to play each other songs all the time over the phone and stuff, and meet up. And Daniel always liked that song. He did a really slow piano version live of it. I think Chris wanted to get it on his album, but the rest of the band didn't like it. So he rang Danny up and said, you like that Gravity, don't you? Why don't you do a version of it? And I said, all right. I'll ask the band. Came in the next day into the studio. We all thought, yeah, let's have a go at it. We did a version of it, which was all right. Played it to our manager, who played it to the record company. The record company went, wow. Yeah, Coldplay, this is what we want, you know. So they put it on the album. We were pleased to put it on the album, and we're not embarrassed about it. And we love the song.
Well, if they weren't going to use it, and it's I've heard they've recorded it later on, but
they did a slow version on piano vocal.
Yeah, your version's better.
I think so.
But I mean, you had Ashes on that album as well. It was a cracking album. It was like a return to form as such.
I think Ashes is a better song for me, but I think it's all right. But whether it got to number 1, who knows? You know, it definitely helped in terms of record company being excited and pushing it and probably spending money on it and all that. So probably do us some favours.
It definitely, like the album. I mean, you were only away like 3 years if you've never been to that, but it was kind of like Phoenix with the Flames, like rising for the Ashes.
Yeah, well, we got dropped, and then I remember it was on Rick's birthday. Actually, got a phone call from our manager saying, "Oh, happy birthday, Rick! By the way, you've been dropped." And we didn't let it get us down. We just kind of like, because he'd got a barn that we just got together and decided we're going to spend 3 months converting this barn into a home studio, store all equipment there, we can rehearse there, and everything will be free. There's no costs involved, and let's just get to work on the new album. But I think we had nothing really left over, so it was starting again, and it did take 3 or 4 years, however long it was, I can't really remember, but it was a long time. I mean, spent a lot of time in the studio going through hundreds of ideas, and then all sat there with notebooks and going, I like that verse from that one, that chorus from that one, and can we add these together? And, it went on forever. I don't think it's probably the best way. 5 of you all have an opinion. Sometimes it's best just to have one. That's the embrace where we are kind of a democracy. Probably slows us down a bit.
I think he's now at a stage where you can kind of take a couple of years here and there.
I don't think we had anything to gain from having a quick turnaround there. I think, it worked perfectly for us. And then we got all the big Lazarus rising from the flames and all this. Yeah, they had Phoenix from the flames, rather. And, got loads of great reviews again. And we're back, which is a very rare thing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. So, then the following year, he brought out the compilation Dry Kids, which got a lot of B-sides on it. Still no enough, in my opinion. There's a few more out there, and then the following year after that, new album, This New Day. That's for me as a Scotland fan is probably the darkest period, even an Embrace fan. Bringing out a World Cup song.
I can understand that totally, yeah. But and the irony is, there's only me that likes football in the band. The rest of them, not really bothered.
Right.
It was literally a thing where we had this song called Mountain Song, and it's that song, but we had no lyrics to it. And we got a phone call. Our manager came in. We were staying in London in a hotel somewhere. I can't remember where it was. Said, the FA have asked if you want to do a Next England song. We're like, what? We don't like football. Do they know that? It's like, well, they're just asking for people. Have they got anything that's suitable? They came to you because you do big anthemic sort of things. And we sat around and sort of, should we give it a go? Send them that Mountain Song we've done and say, we'll put some lyrics to that. And he sent him that the next day and said, they like that, but can you have it ready for Monday? So it was literally that quick. Someone had obviously let them down at the last minute. So they came to us. And we had a go. We didn't want to have, they said, we'll get our England football team on there, we'll get David Beckham on there and get them all up. None of them had anything to do with us. They wanted like Kanye West to do it or something like that. It was all like, you'll be fucking millionaires this time next year if we do all this crap, re-release the album up with it on. I think if you ask Rick, he probably wishes he'd never done it. Whereas me, I'm kind of like, well, we had a go. And it wasn't terrible, and it's not, it didn't destroy us as a band. They probably put a lot of Scottish people on, but we never played it in Scotland.
Yeah, you wouldn't get it alive if you played it.
That would have been funny at the Barrowlands, wouldn't it?
my pals, the drummer of a band, the La Fontaines, and they recorded a song just there for the Euros, for the Scotland song for the Euros. Wasn't an official one or anything, but I think that might have got the most kind of plays out of all the Scottish songs this year.
Yeah.
So
see, I do like my football and I do like World Cups, and so for me it's exciting. We got invited to like go and see like Old Trafford and watch England v Jamaica. Actually, we didn't get a lot out of it. We got 4 tickets to see England v Sweden in Cologne. 5 in the band. They sent us 4 tickets. So like he went and our manager and Rick's brother, and it cost me about £1,000 in flights because flights were ridiculous to get there. And we had a good time in Germany. Watched the 1 or 2, I can't remember. But it was a good experience. We got to see it with our wags, and I was sat next to Ray Winston and all this stars. It's like, wow. And we're there, you could drink beer while you're watching. So we were like, there were 2 pints, thinking, this is fucking great, isn't it? You can drink and watch football. Proper Northern Oinks. But
yeah. So I mean, as you say, there's not many people have got to record a World Cup song, so you can say that.
It didn't do us a lot of favours, but it didn't do us any too much harm.
Well, that's just what I was going to say, because obviously after this you kind of went in a hiatus. So do you think that was caused by the World Cup song?
Actually, what happened was, because we were kind of suddenly on another level, instead of like talking to the enemy and the music journals, suddenly it was the Sun and the news of the world. And suddenly it's quite scary because these people are not talking about music, they're looking for angles. They're looking to find something horrible about you and the past, and we didn't like it at all. We felt really out of our depth and didn't want to be part of this. And then also, because we were probably the most successful we'd been at that time, we did tour, then we went to America, and then we did a Europe, and then we went to America, and then did another tour. By the end of it, Danny's voice was knackered. We were all knackered and needed some time off, so we had a meeting. And it was like, Danny said, look, I need some time away from it. I'm absolutely drained. I need time. And it was like, it's just the end of the band. I remember I said, it's just the end of the band. And I said, it's not the end of the band, but I need time away. And I don't know how long it's going to be, but it's not going to be short. It's not going to be 6 months. I might need a year or 2 away. And it turned into 8 years or something.
Yeah.
He ended up owning a nightclub with his mates in London. Then he set up a nightclub in Manchester.
Who did, Danny?
Yeah. Ended up running a nightclub in Manchester, Moho, I think, and made a success of it. But it was this like the hardest thing he's ever done in his life, running with like 16-hour days. Just
Yeah,
night,
I can imagine.
Shit, really. So yeah, he finally had enough of that. And thought I was better off in the band.
Right.
So we got a message. Let's get together, and it was like one of the best days ever. Yeah, spent a year.
Was it. And like, I mean, how do you feel when you get something like that? Is that kind of had you been waiting in that call for?
And what I've been doing is I've been writing loads of music and kept sending it to him, trying like time back and stuff. Come on, Dad, let's get some on this, sing this, and we all kind of go on. It's amazing how you just like get on with your own life and make other plans, and we all sort of got on doing stuff. I had loads of plans, and I was going to start doing up houses and trying to make money out of property and stuff. But at the time, my mother-in-law got in really poorly with cancer and ended up nursing her for 18 months while she died of lung cancer. So
it's horrible, and life gets in the way.
Life, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Suddenly it's 2 years. I used to go out drinking with Rick all the time, so we've always kept in touch. Mike, and we're all quite local to each other. We drink together occasionally,
Yeah. So, I mean, so the new album then coming out. I mean, that it was like, as you're saying, like it's like getting the band back together, like a call to arms. It was the same for me and my pal, because me and my pal kind of grew up with Embrace, my best pal, and so we went every gig in Scotland we were at. So obviously we've had 7-8 years with these. So I got my pal a ticket for this. I kept it quiet. It was his 30th birthday, so got my ticket for Embrace at the Carlin Academy in Glasgow. So what happened with that was Mickey Dale, keyboard player. I've been messaging him because I thought it's my mate's 30th. I've been a fan of the band from the start. I'll try and get to meet up with you. So I end up telling him, I says, look, I'm going to meet the band before the gig. And he was on nervous about it. So we went to the pub and we had a couple of beers, and I had like 20% battery in my phone. So I was like, right, I'll turn the Wi-Fi off so I'm not using all the battery. And he's like, we'll have another pint. He was like really nervous about meeting me. We'll have another pint. So it went on. It was about 6:30 or something, and then I was like, right, I'll turn on the battery to see. And I had all these messages from Mickey saying he's need to be outside at the back door in the next 5 minutes. So we'd missed, because my mate was at fear to meet you. We had too many drinks in the pub and we missed you. And it's like, I said, this is your fault, man. This was meant to be a surprise for you, and we missed it because of him. But it was a brilliant gig. And I thought the songs, 8 years down the line, I thought your songs were kind of more current and more modern. Was that intentional to kind of modernise the songs? Kind of, there was like mentions to Facebook and things like that. Just more the lyrics of what Danny was saying. It probably did sound a bit more modern as well.
We're not people that stuck in the past, like certain bands have got style and that's it for the rest of their life, and they just hark back to a golden era when music was great.
Yeah,
it's very current with all chart stuff, and they listen to a lot of what I call pop music, and I don't. I listen to a load of weird, I like Fall and Cardiacs and bands and stuff, but they're very current. Mickey's very current like that as well. So yeah, just absorb it all, don't you? And get new likes every year, and we just proper like music. A lot of people love music in the teens, then they get married and they get families, and then that's it, innit? Or then they might come back to it 10 years down the line and realise they're missing music. But we've always been into music. We're doing what we want to do and what we love, really. Life without music is only half a life, isn't it, really? I don't understand people who don't like music. I know I know someone like, I like a Whitney Houston track. He'll have one compilation. What? You don't listen to music? Jesus.
Well, this is the thing. To see if you listen to one song, surely it gets you into. When I hear like a song, I think, right, I like that. I need to go and listen to all the rest of that band.
Yeah.
But you got some people that can detach from it easily.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I'm an addict with vinyl. That's my problem now.
I can see that behind you.
That's half of it. The other half's behind. File that big that I haven't listened to yet. I buy stuff just to keep it in wrapper nowadays. I'm that sad, just thinking that'll be worth something in 5 years and all. But like the last Fontaine's DC album on clear vinyl, because it's like one of my favourite albums of the last 5 years is that, and I just want another copy of it.
Yeah, they're a cracking band too.
I like them, yeah.
Another thing about that gig, merchandise-wise, you're selling tea towels.
Yeah.
That's just like a new thing. This is the first time I've seen tea towels sold at a gig. What was the thinking behind that?
Before Christmas. I wonder if it was before Christmas. We're thinking about Christmas presents and things like that.
It was summertime. I can mind because my mate was going to watch the FA Cup final the next day.
All right, so middle of the summer. Yeah, it's probably Mickey's. He's Mr. Merchant, and he's very good at thinking up strange ideas. There was an apron as well, wasn't there? There's tea towels and an apron.
Yeah.
If you go a lot of like little punk gigs like I do, they have about 50 different designs of T-shirts and everything because that's how they make the money. It's the vinyl T-shirts. So you don't get anything from being played on Spotify and all this. So you've got to try and make your money where you can, haven't you?
Yeah. That's like my pals again, the La Fontaine. They brought the drummer, my pal, he wrote a book. It was basically just like 12 stories of him making an arse of himself whilst being a drummer. But they done that. Buy the book. If you buy the book, you get the album as well. So you're getting all the grannies and all that buying his book.
Is it all horrible?
Yeah, but he was getting so everybody buying the book and it bumped up the album sales. That's how they done it.
Yeah, good idea.
So
I mean, if you're a fan, you want that stuff anyway, don't you? I'm never grown out with that at all. I want everything. I do that. I like a band. I go see a lot of gigs. I buy the vinyl, I buy the T-shirt because I know what it's like to be in a band, and I know these guys are getting paid £100 a night, and they're getting there. The van airs cost them more than that. They're doing it for the love of it mainly.
Yeah,
so I know it's not the same with your big bands, but there's not many of them about making millions. It's just like most people are just scraping a living.
Oh, it's hard going for everybody in the music industry, especially at the moment, and it's mental. After the Embrace album, it was Love is a Basic Need.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've heard a woman singing with you.
Yeah.
So that was a different dynamic again. I thought it worked well. How did Danny sell that one to you?
I think it was Rick's idea because he'd been working with because he's producers as well, and he'd been working with other people's records, and I think he was thinking like Nick Cave and Kylie when they did that. Was it Where the
Wild Roses Grow or something?
That sort of thing, and it works. And, her sweet voice makes Danny seem gruffer and kind of it kind of brings out a nice tone to his voice.
Yeah.
Now it's Nicole who does it. Rick's girlfriend who does that live for us, and she's got a beautiful voice as well, probably better than the original. But
right.
So we'll do that occasionally. We'll do that at festivals if she's available, but she's not always available.
So is she a singer in her own right then, Nicole?
Yeah, Rick's in a band called Eva with his girlfriend, and like all through the lockdown, they've done a gig every week from their lounge and stuff. And they're really good, kind of electro pop, bits of Kate Bush in there, Cocteau Twins. There's some really nice band. So
that seems to be a thing with couples doing music together. I've heard this a few times. The guy for the Cooks, the lead singer of the Cooks, I think he does something with his girlfriend. I think they're called Duo or something. Yeah. So it must be. I don't think I could make music with my wife.
Or anything, I mean, it's awful, couldn't it? But
yeah. So and when about that time as well, would have been the anniversary of the Good Will Out as well. I can mind coming to see you at the Barrowlands for that. And I got a mug there was no tea towels, but I got a mug.
Yeah, the nice with a
the nice art design, the album cover. So I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a bad gig of yours at the Barrowlands. The Barrowlands is a place to.
I don't think you can do a bad gig at Barrowlands. You know, it's well known as well. I've never heard anyone say other than it's the best fucking gig in the country, really. You know, it's one of those where I want it at the start of the tour to get everyone on a high, or save it to the end of the tour as a big celebration. You know, it's one of those.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what I was trying to work out. As I say, back at the Drawing from Memory time, it was, we went to see you one Sunday, and then you were playing again the following Sunday, 2 Sundays in a row at the Barrowlands. So
They would have tried to do Saturday, Sunday, but it wouldn't have been available. You know.
Right. So
I think Difficult Fingers usually do about 3 or 4 there, don't they, for weekend or whatever.
Yeah, I went to see the Snuts on Wednesday, and that was him. They'd done 3 nights. Just a young band. They'd done 3 nights in a row, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Absolutely smashed it. That's the first gig I've been to for this lockdown and all that. It was amazing.
There was a big festival in Wakefield at the weekend, Long Division, and who were going to see? I think mine's going. Las Vegas were very good.
Right.
Cud from 80s, if you remember Cud, that indie band from Leeds, they were good. What's the name? Hang on a second. That's it. Oh, yeah. Hands Off Gretel, I ended up buying all the vinyl. And about 3 albums it cost me. Hands Off Gretel, they're very good. Skunk and Nancy type, funky and metal. Yeah. Very good.
As well.
That was good. I think it was only half full. I think they reduced numbers so people wouldn't feel uncomfortable. But it was great to get a gig again.
Well, I was meant to go to a gig. I was meant to go to Transmat. The first day of Transmat was the week before. Me and my mate went. I met my mate in the pub, but been that long for I've been to a festival. And I got to the train station. It was just full of kids. They're all like Fitba hooligans singing like Fitba songs and all that. And I met my mate in the pub, and within about half an hour we decided we weren't going to bother going to Transmat. We'd just go in a pub crawl. So we ended up in the pub trying to buy Elbow tickets because Elbow were playing at the Academy, and we were trying to shift our Transmat tickets and buy Elbow tickets instead.
Yeah, like Elbow good.
Yeah. So what's you just released something as well, Celery Dreams, haven't you?
Yeah, that's what. Obviously, we locked down. All last year's festivals have gone. All this year, you know, we didn't know what was happening. No gigs, nothing on the horizon, no money coming in. And most of our money's from live, so it was a bit of a worrying time. And it was everyone trying to blue sky think, how can we earn some money? We thought, let's do a gig from Mickey's. I think we got fans to vote on what songs they'd like us to play, and got together, did a bit of rehearsing, did a gig. Felt like a real gig actually because it went out live on, streamed live. Well, don't fuck up, like it was like a real gig, Everyone's sober, we were driving, so you came and have a couple of drinks. Yeah, it was good. I remember driving home from it, and I'm not someone who ever watches Embrace. I don't watch it as when we're on telly or anything. I was slightly embarrassed, but I watched that night, and I thought it was absolutely brilliant. I loved it. Then we thought, let's get it together and get an album out while we can. Massive on vinyl at the moment because there's a massive 6 months waiting list for anything. We were really proud of it. Went to number 6 in the vinyl charts or something.
Right. It's done really well.
Sales, I thought, we should be in the top 40 charts, but a lot of them were from abroad. A lot of the sales were from like Europe and America, so I was really pleased with that.
Right. So what's the plans now going forward?
Well, we've been in passing the other thing we've been doing while we've been locked up is passing songs backwards and forwards, and everyone working on them at home. sending them on. Mike does the drums on them, then he sends it to me, and I put bass on. We send it back to Danny and Rick. They go, yeah, and and send it back again, and we redo it, try a different approach. And so we got together probably about 6-8 weeks ago. We knocked down 9 backing tracks in a couple of weeks.
Right.
And he's sung about 7 of them now, I think. We're due to get together in 2 weeks' time to go through another 4 or 5 ideas that we've been sending backwards and forwards since. And then we'll be done in October. And it's a case of mixing it, make sure, see what our manager thinks, because he's not heard a thing yet. Then if he loves it as much as we do, because it's full of big anthems, it's a lot of Ashes type songs, it's not all sleepy ballads, it's all really upbeat, yes, great tunes that still embraced, but probably more like the Tallies album, I think, more than what was a basic need, a bit more like that. A bit more.
So is Rick producing it then?
Yeah, he's got his studio is now shrunk. He's just in his lounge basically, so we all sit in his lounge. Drum kit's in another room, and it's kind of.
I've seen a video use. I think I've seen a video use, so it looked a bit cramped.
It sounds so amazing though. He's got such amazing ears, and he's got all the latest gear that you need. It just sounds brilliant. It sounds better than anything we've ever done sonically, and the songs are up there. So I'm really excited about it.
So see, having like Rick producing it, does that speed things up then, rather than you have it again and work with a producer?
I think so. I think with producers, I don't think we really understood what they did until we worked with youth. And some youth, really, when he gets involved, he takes control. And, it's a lot of, for Danny, it was a lot of hard work because he's got his way of working. Danny's got his own way of working. And youth gets his way. Whatever you do is just prepared to argue all night, So you're told, and you come out with something. He always wanted to make us a big international band, so he kind of pushed us probably more commercial than we wanted to be. He wanted to get us. He always thought we're sort of mid-Atlantic. Americans would like us as well as English people and Scottish people and Welsh people or whatever. So he kind of pushed us that way a lot, and we also felt slightly uncomfortable with it. But he's got a lot of tricks, a lot of production tricks, and we've kind of learnt from him. Like with Ashes, when we took in Ashes, it was a little sleepy piano ballad. Mm-hmm. And the first thing he said to us, right, make it fall to the floor, kind of thing. We went, what? It's ballad? No, do it. And so we argued for 10 minutes, and then we did it. I thought, that's all right, isn't it? And then we lived with it. We thought that's the way it was right. So now, whenever we're stuck with something, we've got all these do what youth does, speed it right up, or slow it right down, or just change key, or just change approach. There's a song called Feels Like Glue, which is a really slow, epic, spacey rock kind of thing, which was, I think it's a B-side. It might be on the Too Good to Be a B-side thing. And that was quite fast to start with, and it didn't work. It was lightweight, and he just and I think he made us all smoke a spliff and then just chill right out. And just here we go, really slow.
I couldn't imagine that fast-paced.
No.
You just couldn't handle it like that.
Too close to it to see, how it comes out originally. You're kind of stuck with that, and sometimes you need someone outside just say, this is what you do. Slow it down. Take the drums off it, or put the drums on, turn the guitar up or take it off. Just someone who's not involved, with the band. That's why you need a producer, I think.
Yeah.
Everyone's fighting their own corner and saying, I'm getting bass on this, whatever, and even though it might be better without bass on, So you need someone you trust. And we've learned a lot from him, you see, so I think we've got a lot of tricks under it. Mm-hmm.
So if you're saying October, so what do you reckon, a release maybe next year or something?
Definitely next year, but it's kind of, will it be summer? Will it be spring? I've no idea. And traditionally, we've always been told not to release stuff in the summer because everyone's too busy going on holiday and there's no gigs around. It's just festivals. Wait to the autumn, and then you tend to go on tour when the students go back, don't you, in September, October?
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. It's we haven't even got a record label at the moment, so our manager will just sort of tout it around. If no one's interested or we prefer to do it ourselves, we'll do it ourselves. It's not rocket science just to put a record out.
Yeah. So
obviously, you keep all the money if you make anything as well.
What's going on as well? Where you get another couple of bands into land charts with you and Mike.
Yeah, that's just another thing because we both. I mean, Mike's massive. He grew up with rock, whereas I grew up with punk, and I were post-punk. He were rock, Led Zeppelin, and all that, and prog, and then he got into all hair metal, which is awful in my book. But basically, he writes a lot of riffs, and I write a lot of riffs, and never ever get used to it. It was kind of like, why don't we form a little band? So we started tunes together. Luckily, that Beaver, we mentioned earlier, with the afro on, as a keyboard tech, he joined in. Mikey Shiraz, who's from a fantastic band called Mr. Shiraz. And then they've got Sam, who's from Wayward Sons, a big rock band, and we just all get together, do about 4 hours rehearsal, knock a set together and go out and have a bit of a party. It's a bit of fun. It's nothing too serious. I would like to get a record out one day, but I've no massive aspirations of hitting the charts or anything. It's just a bit nice to own a bit of coloured vinyl.
Yeah.
On charts.
So you get land charts, because land charts support it Embrace on.
Yeah, that was kind of like, because Hurricane Number One. I'm not quite sure of the reasons, but they couldn't do the rest of the tour, so we were short of a tour support.
Mm-hmm.
Just one day, it was like, we could, we'll support you. So we rang them up. They came down. We played like 40-minute set to bemused Embrace fans thinking. And we had a lot of fun doing it, but I don't really particularly like doing two sets a night. It's like you come off stage with band charts, then you straight back round with getting yourself Embrace headspace. It's not good for you, really.
And you get another one as well, haven't you? One-sided horse.
Yeah, that's another thing. The story about that is, I think about 8 years ago, I was just reading The Guardian, and they were like, the future of punk, and it was this article they did, and it mentioned Sleaford Mods, Evil Blizzard, and the band called the Eagles. Now, I straight away I look on YouTube, Sleaford Mods, thought this is fucking great. Evil Blizzard, there were a few little clips of them up, I thought this is interesting, and then Eagles, I ended up buying records by all of them. And I go to Rebellion every year in Blackpool, 4-day punk festival, and Evil Blizzard were on. I thought I'll go and check these out because I've seen a little bit of them online. They all came on stage and got masks on and silly outfits, and he's got his big belly out, and one of them's climbing speaker stacks and they're jumping up and just fighting on stage and kicking shit out of each other. I thought this is one of the best things I've ever seen in my life. So I got home and on Facebook, just checked him out, said, came to see you at Blackpool, thought you were brilliant. One of the best things I've seen. And then it turns out two of the band are massive, massive Embrace fans. So Mark and Pete, and I ended up Mark sending me loads of his songs. He does his own sort of folky type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember what happened then, but I think basically he wanted to record with Rick, me, and Mickey and Mike, and just thought, for some reason he managed to persuade us to get together in the studio and record an album with him, and it's really good actually. It's got a really distinctive voice. You might not like it, but if you do like it, you like what he does. And he's just a very, very creative person. He's constantly churning out music, constantly gigging. He just wants to. It's like a middle-aged man who's finally found what he wants to do with his life.
Yeah.
He's been working for DHS for all these years, and he's got all this pent-up creativity. And I'd like to do more with him. It's just always about time and money, really, because every time I do a gig with him, it's always in Preston or somewhere, and it's hotels, and suddenly you realise you're rehearsing and working for no money, and it's costing you. That's my life mainly, to be honest. In lockdown, I've done another album with Mike's neighbour. He's got a neighbour who's very talented, so we've recorded about 15 songs with him in lockdown, and that's very sort of chilled out, proggy, and God knows what it is really. It's a right mixture of stuff. And that's another middle-aged man who's finally found his voice. And we haven't got a name for the band. But once we get a name for the band, we'll stick that out sometime. So,
all right, so that's gone for release as well, yeah.
Yeah, so once again, we'll probably just do a few gigs and stick out a vinyl or something. But it keeps you busy. I mean, you've got to keep busy in lockdown. I would have gone mad without all this stuff going on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's just how this podcast came about as well. That's just like for lockdown that the podcast came about. So there's another middle-aged man finding his voice in a different way. So that's the last part of the podcast, obviously.
Right.
Well aware of it. Time for heroes. You pick 4 heroes or as many heroes as you want, really, to come for dinner.
Right.
So
at first I thought I'll go for musical ones, and I thought like Lemmy would be good fun. David Bowie would be very interesting. Iggy Pop would be great. But then I don't know. I think just as important to me is like comedy, and I've always just as for me the one of the biggest influences in my life was Monty Python. Mm-hmm. Growing up, I had older friends who listened to Python and stuff like that, so I thought Michael Palin, it'd be a very nice, interesting bloke. But then, so yes, we were interested as kids, but when the first real comedy for teenagers was The Young Ones, and I don't know, but The Young Ones, when we were at school, we knew every word of it. We'd skive out of school, go and watch it, get the VHS out, and we'd all watch it, and then tend to be Rick. And it's like Rick Mail. I think, in the last 10 years of all the celebrities that have died, Rick Mail is the one that really depressed me. I don't know why. He's always been there. And I think because on lockdown as well, there's been a lot of comfort watching TV as well as everything else. As well as we've all been comfort eating and drinking too much. I've been watching a lot of old stuff, old and full source every day. And I've been watching a lot of Bottom, and Rick Mail's my comedy hero, I think, and probably it was punk as well. It was kind of punk comedy and changed everything. And I'm a massive fan of the alternative comedy. I never liked joke telling. I never liked the Bernard Mannings and all that horrible crap. No. The guy in the pub that'd always tell you loads of jokes and you'd kind of have to laugh along because he didn't want to offend anybody. But I wasn't my kind of stuff at all. So I was always quite, more alternative than all that stuff. So yeah, I'd have Rick Mail, and it'd be fantastic. You just got him there already, so it's already fantastic. And my second one is another comedian. And I've always loved Bob Mortimer, and probably my favourite person in the world at the moment. I don't know if you listen to his podcast, but he's got a podcast out called Atletico Men's, which is absolutely hilarious. There's obviously the fishing show, which I think is the best thing on telly at the moment. I watched that. I watched 6 episodes last night. Absolutely love it. It makes me feel good about the world. And I just love his childish sense of humour. He just seems he's got a really gentle, lovely sense of humour. And I just want to be his friend. So, I want to go drinking and stuff and have a laugh. And it seems like his childhood was all about lads making each other laugh, being as stupid as possible. It's all about being an idiot, nothing horrible, nothing violent, just being an idiot and doing stupid stuff. And I like that. Very much like we were. So yeah, I think that's me sorted already with them two. What was my third one? My third one, I would actually get someone, like I mentioned him already, John Peel, because, like I said, I used to go to bed early just to listen to him. I just love the guy. He got me into music. He created India. I think he's one of the most important people in the musical history of this country. He created all that enemy, indie, snobbery, and everything. I think he was really important. And there's not a really great book out about him or anything. There's no massive. I think his autobiography is written after he died, and it's not. His biography, rather, it's not very good. And I just think he knew every band. He went to see gigs constantly. Yeah. He's a massive fan of The Fall, and I'm a massive fan of The Fall. And I'd like to know his stories and sit around and listen to him talk about all these. I could ask him about anybody and he'd know them, and he's done a session with them. So, because I'm quite nosy and gossipy, and I want to go, what's he like? What's he like? What did he, So I'd love all that. Yeah.
Like Glastonbury, like your BBC coverage of Glastonbury, it's good, but it's not the same with John Peel in it now.
And I liked his it was amateurish as well, and he used to put records on at the wrong speed, or he'd put the bass out by mistake, and then it's like, oh yeah, I'll put that on again. If he liked a song that much, he'd play it twice. I do that. I piss people off by doing that, by playing the same song all night long. I get into a zone when I'm drunk, just listen to the same thing. So I think it'd be great for me because I just question him all night. Then the other ones will seem a bit weird, but when we recorded our second album, Draw From Memory, we were in derelict stately home kind of thing in Cotswolds. And it was the first time I entered any light pollution in my life, probably. So it's like we'd go out at night, have a few beers, look up the stars and see the Milky Way.
Mm-hmm.
Which you don't normally see. You will do in Scotland, but not down Yorkshire, you know what I mean? It's proper clear nights, beautiful summer, sat there watch. We'd all go, what's that star? Is that a planet? What's that? And none of us knew a bloody thing, you know. Is that slightly red? Is that Mars? No idea. So I ended up getting into cosmology, and once you start reading about cosmology, it's all takes you into quantum physics, and you start getting really depth. For about 25 years, I've just been obsessed reading about quantum physics and stuff. And it confuses the fuck out of me, and I don't know how anyone can understand it. But I want Brian Cox to explain it all to me, and he seems like a top bloke. And I listen to a lot of this podcast as well, and I can just ask him loads of questions. So mainly this part is about me asking people questions and then laughing at Rick Mail and Bob Mortimer. I think it'd be fantastic.
Yeah, that's a right good bunch of people together. I don't think Bob Mortimer would just be carry on all the way through that right enough, but
I love it.
Yeah.
I could pick a lot more, you know. Billy Connolly would be fantastic. You know, there's loads of comedians I really love and respect. There's loads of musicians, but I think they've got what I need there.
Yeah. And what would you cook them?
What I cook, it's got to be a curry, hasn't it?
Right.
The chicken spinach. Maybe chicken spinach and potato is my kind of speciality.
Right.
Quite spicy as well.
Okay.
You know, there's some good curries up in Glasgow. We used to go out in Glasgow and Edinburgh. There's always a Billy Connolly recommended curry house. You must have had a lot of curries or something, and they're always very good. So yeah, it's definitely curry. I'm not the greatest of cooks, but I can do a mean curry.
No, but I'm kind of the same. I'm not the greatest of cooks, but my missus has started a new job, and I need to make the dinner every night now for what seems to be the rest of my life. So
I get to do a big pot. Like it'll last you about 3 days, and it gets hotter and better as it goes on.
Yeah, I might make a curry now. Right, that's us then. Anyway, that's thanks very much for coming on.
That was enjoyable. I enjoyed that. Nice. Yeah.
I hope you all enjoyed this episode of Time for Heroes podcast. If you would like to get in touch, the best way is on the Facebook page, Time for Heroes podcast, or on Instagram at Time for Heroes podcast, or Twitter at Time for Heroes P1, or drop me an email at timeforheroespod@gmail.com. You'll find Time for Heroes on all podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple, Google and Amazon. Please leave a review where you can, share with others, and more importantly, enjoy.